Good afternoon. Students, you have received the lesson which I sent to you through YouTube. The remaining part of the lesson, let us continue. That is the sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction involves formation of the male and female gametes by different individuals of the opposite sex. These gametes fuse to form the zygote, which develops to new organism. It is an elaborate, complex and slow process as compared to asexual reproduction, because the fusion of male and female gametes, sexual reproduction results in offspring that are not identical to the parents or among themselves. Life cycle of an organism is divided into following three phases. First, juvenile phase, that is the pre-reproductive period, means from germination to the sexual maturity. Second, reproductive phase, that is the reproductive period. Third one is the senescent phase, commonly known as senescence, end of the reproductive phase and aging. Now we come to the juvenile phase. All organisms have to reach a certain age of growth and maturity in their life before they can reproduce sexually. That period of growth is called the juvenile phase. It is known as vegetative phase in plants. This phase is of variable duration in different organisms. It may be few days to few years sometimes. Like the ephemerals, it takes hardly few days, and conifers it may take 2 to 3 years or even more time. Sometimes it is 50 or 100 years. The end of juvenile or vegetative phase, which marks the beginning of the reproductive phase, can be seen easily in the higher plants when they come to flower. Relation of reproduction with season. Following categories of plants can be made on the basis of seasonality, that is the monocarpic plants and polycarpic plants. Monocarpic plants are the flower. In these plants, flowering occurs once in their life cycle. Bear fruits and die. For example, annuals like rice, wheat, and biennials like radish, or perennials like bamboo. The polycarpic plants. Flowering occurs every year in a particular season after reaching maturity. For example, mango, apple, orange, guava, papaya, etc. Relation of reproduction with season in animals. The categories are seasonal breeders. They are animal species that successfully mate only during certain times of the year, for example, frogs, lizards, birds, etc. Continuous breeders, they reproduce throughout their lifespan of sexual maturity, for example, cattle, poultry, rabbit, etc. Now, the estrous cycle and menstrual cycle. the females of placental mammals exhibit cyclic changes in the activities of ovaries and accessory ducts as well as hormones during the reproductive phase. Means there are the certain changes which are repeated. In non-primate mammals like cows, sheep, rats, deers, dogs, tiger, etc., such cyclic changes during reproduction are called oestrus cycle. Whereas in primates, monkeys, apes and humans, it is called menstrual cycle. Now we come to some unusual flowering phenomenon. A few plants exhibit unusual flowering phenomenon. Some of them, such as bamboo species, flower only once in their lifetime, generally after 50 to 100 years, produce large number of fruits and die. Though many of them reproduce asexually better than sexually. Another plant, Strobilus kunthiana, commonly known as Nilakuranji, grows in Nilgiri hills, flowers once in 12 years, means they flower after 12 years. As many of you would know, this plant flowered during September, October 2006 and then 2018. Now we have to wait next time. Now we come to the events in sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction is characterized by the fusion, or that is a fertilization of the male and female gametes, the formation of zygote and embryogenesis. For convenience, these sequential events may be grouped into three distinct stages, namely pre-fertilization, fertilization and post-fertilization events. Means pre-fertilization, that means gamete formation, etc. Fertilization means fusion of these gametes, and after that, that is after the zygote formation, the post-fertilization events. Now we come to the pre-fertilization. This includes formation of gametes, that is the gametogenesis, and their transfer. Now what is gametogenesis? Let us see what are the characteristic features. It involves formation of two haploid reproductive units called gametes. Usually one is male and another is a female. The formation of male gametes or male reproductive unit is called spermatogenesis. The formation of female gamete or female reproductive unit is called oogenesis. When male and female gametes are similar in appearance and it is not possible to differentiate them into male and female gametes, they are called homogametes or isogametes, and their fusion is known as isogamy. When the male and female gametes are morphologically distinct, they are called heterogametes, usually in their size and behavior, motility, etc. Now the next point, among heterogametes, the male reproductive unit is called anthrozoites or sperm, and female reproductive units is called egg or ovum. A single organism bearing both male and female sex gametes is called homothallic or monoecious. For example, coconut, cucurbits, etc. Organisms in which different individuals carry male or female gametes are called heterothallic or dioecious. For example, papaya and date palm. You may call them as a unisexual plants or organisms. Unisexual male flowers bearing stamens are called staminate flowers. Unisexual female flowers bearing pistils are called pistillate flowers. The animals bearing both the sexes are called hermaphrodites. For example, earthworm, tapeworm, sponges, leech, etc. Now, cell division during gamete formation. Gametes are always haploid to maintain the continuity of the chromosome number in the species. Haploid organisms produce gametes by mitotic division, and diploid organisms undergo meiosis of specialized cells called meiocytes, which we may call as a gamete mother cells to form the gametes. So meiocytes always faces meiosis in diploid organisms, and in haploid organism, normal cells, gamete mother cell give rise the gametes by mitosis. Several organisms belonging to Monera, fungi, algae and bryophytes have haploid plant body. This you have read in earlier classes. But in organisms belonging to pteridophytes, gymnosperms, angiosperms and most of the animals, including human beings, the parental body is diploid, means chromosome number is 2n. It is obvious that meiosis, the reduction division, has to occur if a diploid body has to produce haploid gametes. The details of meiosis you have read in class 11, and you see how single cell give rise the four haploid daughter cells. At the end of both divisions, only one set of chromosomes get incorporated into each gamete. Now, gamete transfer. It is very important event and ensures the fertilization. After gamete formation, male and female gametes must be physically brought together to facilitate fusion, that is called fertilization or syngamy. Male gametes are usually motile, whereas female gametes are static. And normally it has also been observed that male gametes are smaller in size and female gametes are larger in size. In lower plants like some algae and fungi, both male and female gametes are motile. In simple plants like algae, bryophytes and pteridophytes, water acts as the medium for gamete transfer, means the transportation of anthrozoids is possible along with water only. In angiosperms, the pollen grains are transferred from anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower. This is called pollination. You might have seen the bryophytes, pteridophytes, they produce large number of male gametes, that is anthrozoids, to ensure the fertilization, because the fertilization is always external, that is why they require more number of male gametes than the female gametes. Some of the male gametes may deviate from the path and may not reach the female gamete. That is why they produce large number of male gametes. This happens in many animals too, where external fertilization is there. Now we come to the fertilization of syngamy. It is the fusion of male and female gametes to form a diploid cell called zygote. The phenomenon of development of female gametes directly into an individual without fertilization is called parthenogenesis. For example, rotifers, honeybees, lizards, and many birds. This is very interesting phenomenon occurs in the nature. Means new individuals formed without fertilization, without zygote formation. Only the haploid egg is enough to form the zygote and then embryo and then young one. Fertilization is of two types: external fertilization and internal fertilization. When fusion of gametes occur outside the body of an organism, it is called external fertilization. When fusion of gametes occur inside the body of an organism, it is called internal fertilization. External fertilization is observed in the amphibians, many bryophytes. We see that they require water for fertilization, and amphibians too require water for medium for fertilization. In bryophytes, the anthrozoites reaches the archegonial cells, and in the amphibians, the spermatozoa are released into water, which reach the eggs released into water already. Now we come to the post fertilization events. These includes development of zygote and embryo after fertilization. Now zygote development. In external fertilization, zygote is formed in the external medium, whereas in internal fertilization, zygote is formed inside the body of the organisms. Zygote ensures continuity of species between organisms from one generation to other or the next. The embryogenesis. Embryogenesis is the development of the embryo. The process of development of embryo from the zygote is called embryogenesis. During embryogenesis, zygote undergoes cell division, that is the mitosis, undoubtedly, to increase cell number. Cell differentiation to form specialized tissue and organs. Means once cells formed by mitosis, they change their internal and external features, become specialized to form a specific function. That is the differentiation. Based on whether the zygote develops outside the body of female parent or inside, animals can be classified into oviparous and viviparous respectively. Usually this is asked in the examination. In flowering plants, the zygote is formed inside the ovule. You might be remembering the structure of ovule, where the zygote develops into an embryo. The fertilized ovule develops into seed and ovary develops into fruit. The seed, after dispersal in favorable condition, germinates to produce new plants. The outermost protective covering of fruit is called pericarp or fruit wall, which may be many layered or single layered. Another important point here we notice in the animals which shows the external fertilization, they produce large number of progenies. The reason behind that, the conditions in which they are to develop is vulnerable. Most of them may be subjected to natural calamity, subjected to predation, and due to the scarcity of food, some may die. So, to compensate these disturbances or disasters, many animals produce large number of progenies to ensure their survival existence or perpetuation. So, this is almost extract of the lesson first. You will refer the NCERT books and questions given in the end of the NCERT book, solve it, and the questions collected from different years of the board examinations, and practice them, solve them. If any difficulty, please inquire it.